Hey everyone, welcome back to Week Ahead Astrology Breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and this week is a doozy. I took a lot of notes, and even when I was getting ready for this, I'm like, I just want to be able to disseminate this precisely because it is a lot right now. I got many DMs last week. So we're going to do a little bit of a recap just to process that and kind of do a reflection before we move into this week's transit. So pretty much every one of my clients at the start of last week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, were feeling exhausted, tired, lethargic, lack of drive, lack of motivation. And remember that Mars was slowing down, and it's stationed on Thursday with that Moon-Neptune opposition. So sometimes we feel that if we're resting or if we're not feeling motivated, that something is wrong or that it won't change. We have to trust that's part of the process. We have to trust and honor our own transits in our own chart. I know for me personally, November and December, I was sleeping like 14, 16-hour days. I was doing what needed to be done to hold space for my clients, and then I'd go back to bed. And I knew that wasn't going to last forever. And then I knew that I had to honor my intuition and do certain things for my highest good. And I learned so much in those 2 months to now be a completely different person in January. So if you're going through that, know that you're not alone, but also know that that phase isn't going to last forever. And you have to go through these things to understand what is working and what is not. This week has a very similar energy to that as well. But that Thursday with the Moon-Neptune opposition with Mars stationing, a lot of people are feeling very anxious, very scattered, a lot of frenetic energy, not knowing what's going on. And if you're not used to doing the spiritual work or trusting in the intuitive downloads, it could feel overwhelming because the moon in Virgo always is more pragmatic, more diligent, maybe a bit more conservative, methodical. Neptune in Pisces wants to dream big. It has all these emotions. It has all these visions. It's like otherworldly energy where the moon in Virgo is quite grounded and it's like precise. It's like, no, we need to do this in this way. And then Neptune in Pisces, not always thinking like that. How it manifested for me is that I got a very clear download. It's like, you need to do this in this way or else you're going to keep on repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. The Virgo moon energy was like, if you just wait a little bit longer, you'll get the result that you want. But then the Neptune in Pisces was saying, trust us, have faith in this, and you're going to get exactly what you want. I was manifesting something very specific and very big, something I never manifested before. So then I did that on Friday because I trusted my intuition. It's like, don't do this action today because Mars is not active or as strong as it could be because it's stationing. Do this tomorrow. So when I did it on Friday, I got really excited, and my Aries moon could be like, I want it now, I want it now. And I had to trust that if I placed the structures and I trusted my intuition that it would all work out. And it did. So I treated myself to the reward I said I was going to do once that came through, and everything was beautiful. But I had to trust in that Neptunian energy, even though the Virgo moon is like, just do this, just do this, just do this. Like on paper, it makes sense to do it this way. Neptune said something else. And the intuitive energy that came through for me was quite pronounced. And I mean, I did sleep a lot on Wednesday to be grounded for Thursday. And that's just the benefit of knowing these transits so that you too can prepare and take time for what you need to best serve everyone around you. And I share these stories because this week has similar energy where certain days are going to feel maybe a bit more intense, but the potential for breakthroughs is huge. The potential for uncovering deeper parts of yourself and your power are massive. So take what you learned from last week and what you experienced, because if you can apply it to this week, after this week, it's kind of like all engines are off. All planets will be direct. All the planets are going to be moving in a very nice fashion. We're going to be in Aquarius season. We're going to be coming off the Aquarius New Moon next week. So you have 7 days to integrate, to process, to trust that everything is about to move beautifully in your favor, okay? One last thing to note. On Saturday, when we had the moon in Libra squaring Mercury while making a trine to Venus, I was like, I said this in the video last week, it's most likely that like a past relationship or past lover is going to come into your DMs or your inbox or whatever that may be. And a past lover of mine did fly in. And I use my discernment. I'm like, this is no longer aligned. Nothing against that lover. Beautiful. Cancer rising with a Taurus moon. If you know, you know. But it was just very clear from all the work that I've done what I needed to take care of myself and what I'm calling in with regards to love. So sometimes these transits are so literal. And of course, it could also be a friend or a colleague or a family member. It doesn't always have to be a lover in those scenarios. But I also got a lot of DMs on Saturday that people were sharing very similar sentiments of that Moon in Libra, square Mercury retrograde, making a trine to Venus. So if that happened for you, or you just got more clear on what you want or need out of Venus, that also could have been a vibe as well. So let's take a look starting on Monday, January 16th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we see here the moon in Scorpio, conjunct the South Node, opposing Uranus. We also have this Moon-Uranus opposition and then Venus in Aquarius right in the middle. So it's a T-square with Venus in Aquarius, Moon in Scorpio, Uranus in Taurus. So what this means is there may be a lot of emotional turbulence or a lot of releasing of emotions to feel a change. Or you could feel like, I know all this change is happening and it's causing me to feel a certain type of way because I might have to release a relationship or release a fear that once served me, once protected me, but it's no longer what is required of me. I don't need to hold on to that belief or that energy or that love or that relationship anymore. And this can even unlock a deeper theme that you've been working through in that Scorpio part of your natal chart. But even if we just look at the moon square Venus, that can sometimes be where we are needing more love, more nurturing, more care for ourselves, or it could be a mother wound. And even if your relationship with your mother is very good, it can still be something where the act of mothering yourself, receiving love and nurturing, or receiving of a feminine energy is something that comes up on Monday as this huge change is taking place. And that change can be external in your physical reality or internal in how you feel about yourself. So there is a lot going on. There are some pluses though, because the moon is making that applied trine to Neptune, and the moon is also making those applied sextiles to the sun and Pluto. So if you feel that you're a little bit all over the place, or maybe you didn't get enough rest as you wanted to over the weekend, go inward, take time for yourself. You don't need to be connected to social media or overextend to others or answer texts or phone calls or emails. You need to take care of you on Monday. And by doing that self-care, partaking in your spiritual practices, even just like a little bit of gratitude, or even just saying a prayer. What I'll do if I am not getting as much sleep as I want or need, I will pray before I go to bed. It's like, God, source, spirit, please give me the energy and stamina to get through everything that I want and need to tomorrow or today, if I'm going to bed early in the morning. And it always works. I think it's surprising sometimes how we don't believe in this work, or sometimes clients have doubts. If you just ask for what you want or need, creation, God, source will give it to you. So especially when we have really nice moon Neptune transits, the moon connected to our body and Neptune being that spirit, that creativity, that otherworldly energy, this can be a time that even if you're feeling that change is feeling like a lot, ask for support, ask for you to be able to see it in a different way, ask for protection. This will help immensely. Now, as we move on to Tuesday, the moon is finishing off its transit in Scorpio. It's going to be in Sagittarius at around 1 p.m. This is going to be huge because that's going to be a complete tonal shift. And I think that if you ask for clarity or ask for protection, you'll get the answer, or the path will be abundantly clear, or you might just feel overall happier that things are working out when the moon is in Sag. That's already a more optimistic flare compared to moon at Scorpio. And then making that trine to Jupiter is beautiful, where things could happen very quickly, or there's a change that you need. Given that the moon is getting ready for that dark moon phase, it could just be something that you needed to hear, or something that gets off of your plate to now feel like there's less that you have to hold on to, or less work that you have to do. So do your due diligence on Monday to ground in and do what you need to do. Those could also be little things like lunar needs, like filling your fridge up, doing meal prep, getting the house clean so that you feel safe, that you can breathe, knowing that there's not this giant to-do list. And if you don't have the means to do that, ask for help, ask for support, or pay someone to do it. It's going to help you significantly this week. Also on Tuesday, it's the last day of Mercury retrograde, and we're also seeing this Sun-Pluto conjunction, which is going to go direct tomorrow. So understanding where you want to be seen, where you want to be heard, where you want to take back your power and autonomy. I want you to ask yourself these questions on Tuesday because they're going to be very prevalent on Wednesday. Also, Tuesday morning, we still have that really nice trine to Neptune. So doing some manifestation work, getting clear on what you want, visualizing, prayer, journaling, breath work, whatever feels good for you. There's really strong activations there that can really help you. I'm sure Monday night is going to be a really intense time for dreams. So I would get a good night's rest so that you can process those dreams and maybe journal out what those dreams came through. Like I know a lot of my clients, and even myself, like my dreams have been so pronounced as of late. They've been a vibe. They've been really, really cool. And especially when we had that moon in Virgo opposing Neptune, the dreams were really strong. So we have a lot of moon Neptune aspects this week. So you want to make sure that you're not skimping out on the rest, on the sleep, because there's a lot of work and a lot of blessings that can take place in that part of your life. Now, Wednesday. Wednesday is a lot. So let's take it one step at a time. First of all, we have Mercury stationing direct, which is amazing. As we all saw last week when Mars was stationing direct, it can manifest in a couple of different ways. One thing to note is that Mercury rules over Gemini and Virgo. So now that we have Mars direct in Gemini and the ruler of Gemini is now direct, we're going to start slowly seeing huge shifts in your Gemini ruled house. Also look at the Virgo ruled house in your natal chart because things might become more clear or things are going to be activated over what you've learned during this Mercury retrograde, which has taken place over the past 3 weeks. Number 2, the moon is making really nice aspects to Venus and Sagittarius. This could just be where you feel happier or where there's more drive, creativity, passion. This could also be a nice energy where you just feel like you're connecting with friends, or at the office, everyone is getting along really well, or there's like new breakthroughs around things that you want to say, or collectively like a mission. It's like you and the people that you're in business with have a new goal that you can all connect and get behind, or there's really great optimism and faith that everything is going to work out, whether it's on an individual level or when you're together. So this is all really quite nice. The one thing to note is that we do have this exact Sun-Pluto conjunction as the moon is opposing Mars. The good thing is the moon is making a separating opposition to Mars, so this gets less and less intense throughout the day. But this can be where, again, you could be in your head and it could feel very intense emotionally due to a power struggle or due to you wanting to be seen or pushing yourself to the next level. And this could be an emotional investment, a physical investment, a financial investment. Pluto kind of covers all bases, but one, you can look at the Capricorn ruled part of your chart because we still have Mercury now stationing in the same day that the sun is making that conjunction to Pluto. So Wednesday is going to be a very charged day, especially given that Wednesday is ruled by Mercury and Mercury is stationing. So it doesn't have as much power as it normally would. So just be aware that your emotions will be quite intense. Leaning on friends, leaning on connection, leaning on your boundaries is going to help. I do still think, given that the moon is an aspect of Jupiter, things can be quite nice. I do think also, given the moon is making that direct trine with Chiron in the sign of Aries, you're going to be called, whether it's externally or internally, to be seen, to go higher, to pursue what it is you want. And I don't think there's going to be any tiptoeing around it. It's going to be very loud. It's like, you need to do this, or you've always wanted to do this, or this has always been on your mind. Do the thing. It's going to be very hard to ignore, I believe, intuitively, and then just looking at these transits. So be aware. There's a lot going on. The one final thing to note is that the moon is making a square to Neptune. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling a lot of mental anxiety or stress, it might be easy and tempting to go to an addiction or a vice to help ease that pain. Or it can easily be your friends like, hey, let's go out for one drink, and one drink turns into 10. So just be protective of your energy and your boundaries. And this is still going to be a nice energy for you to do a lot of dream work because the moon is still making that square to Neptune. And now we're in the dark moon phase before that new moon. So the dark moon phase is always conducive to slowing down, resting more, wrapping up loose ends, doing some healing work with a professional healer or just internally. Also, it's like taking a nice Epsom salt bath to maybe help relieve some pain in the legs, given that Sagittarius rules the legs. Excuse me. That could be a very good option. Now, Thursday. Thursday is the last day of Capricorn season before we move into Aquarius season. Mercury is now regaining speed, and the moon is going to be moving between Sagittarius and Capricorn. So Thursday, we have this really nice moon-Saturn sextile. So in terms of productivity, or like I said before, wrapping up loose ends, you might have that final push before moving into Thursday night, which is going to be a much slower energy, or where you're going to want to unwind a little bit more. And I still think, especially because the moon is going to be entering Capricorn and going to be tracing over the steps of what we just experienced during Capricorn season, but especially this Sun-Pluto conjunction, I want you to still pay attention to that, especially if you have heavy cardinal energy in your chart. So Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, or Aries, this is just going to be quite pronounced. And we only ever get this Sun-Pluto cazimi, this Sun-Pluto conjunction once a year. So it can be quite profound. And it's like, I've always wanted to do this. And these people of power, authority, whether it be a father figure, a boss, or someone in a grand scheme, like a governing body, is like, they've always said this, or they've always done that, but that's not how I want to conduct myself. That's not how I want to be a parent, a lover, a business owner, whatever that may be. So there's still going to be integration that's taking place with that. So just getting clear on power, control, death and rebirth, where you're obsessing about certain things, where maybe you need to put more focus into your life. These are things to understand on Thursday, because when we move into Friday is a very interesting day, because there's a lot shifting right before we hit the Aquarius new moon. Number one, the moon Mercury conjunction, while also the moon is making a trine to Uranus. This can also just be like news rapidly coming in, or you deciding and shifting a belief, rapidly shifting an external contract or opportunity, or just new information coming to light. If something does happen where it's like a contract or an offer, or it's like a lover reaching out to connect with you, whatever that offer or correspondence is, I would personally sit with it. And unless you need to respond by end of day of Friday, I would wait to respond until Monday, because the moon is still going to be connecting with Pluto, where emotionally you might be going through something very intense, or there might be a better offer, and Mercury is just starting to move forward. So you might not even have all the pieces together, or you taking your time to sit on it. The person who's giving you that offer might give you something better, or an additional bonus, or change the offer completely. So sit with that. And this doesn't have to be an external offer. This can be a download that you receive and you're like, whoa, this is not something I expected. This is just instant surprise. But if you've been doing the work the past few months, the past few weeks, or even just the past few days of this week, something is going to come through very quickly. And I do think it'll be some type of news that'll have an emotional charge. Also, in good news, the sun is now in the sign of Aquarius. So happy Aquarius season. Happy birthday to all of our amazing Aquarius angels in the universe. Now that the sun is in Aquarius, we see that we have 3 planets in Aquarius. Tomorrow, Saturday, is going to be the Aquarius new moon. So that part of your chart is going to be highly, highly, highly activated. There's going to be really nice downloads, new breakthroughs, new ideas that are coming in. So please pay attention. Of course, if you have any prominent energy in the sign of Aquarius, so sun, moon, or rising, your chart ruler, anything that's there, this is going to be a great time for you in general. Is there anything else I want to talk about there? I will say, like, Thursday night leading into Friday morning, the moon will be in those early degrees of Capricorn. So it'll be the moon square Jupiter. And remember, we had that aspect during the Capricorn new moon around Christmas time. So there could also be additional information that's coming through from that Capricorn new moon. Now that Mercury has station direct, and now that we're in this new energy with Aquarius season, it's like there might be certain things that come up again when we're in the dark moon phase for your elevation, or letting go, or just to finally know that the decisions or the intentions or the manifestations that we set during that Capricorn new moon or at the start of Capricorn season are all now coming full circle. Okay. So Saturday, we have that exact Moon, Pluto conjunction at around 3:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have the Aquarius New Moon. So like we said, Wednesday was a really big day with the Mercury station. Saturday is also going to be a very energetically charged day. I think Saturday is going to be a bit better because there's going to be all these revelations. And then we have the new moon, and then the moon is going to be co-present Venus, which is great. So a lot to take in. Make sure you have time for yourself. I would do some journaling. I would see what's coming up on Saturday. And I do believe that you'll just have clearer energy, clearer focus. You're going to know what to do, and trust in your mind, trust in what you know to be true, and not rely on what other people are saying or doing. Like Aquarius is known as the rebel, the freedom fighter, really resonating with truth and ethics. So be sure that you know what your personal integrity, code of ethics, what you believe in is sharpened, so that we can start walking that path confidently. Or if you're already on that path, you can sprint and run and laugh comfortably down this path and attract the people and attract the relationships that are in alignment with that. And then Sunday, we have all this beautiful energy build up in Aquarius. We also have that moon making a square to Uranus. So again, sometimes as we're creating new beliefs, new paradigms, new energies, it can feel a lot, or sometimes emotionally destabilizing, or it can be like, is this really possible? Can I maintain this? What if, what if, what if? But the moon is making that conjunction with Venus. Venus is making a conjunction with Saturn. So if you are feeling like you need additional support, make sure that you invest into it. And this kind of goes full circle back to Monday. Like I said, it's like, where do we need to support ourselves to protect our emotions, to protect ourselves, to protect our productivity? These are all things I want you to ask yourself. And I think it'll be very clear if something keeps coming up on Sunday that's maybe been a theme constantly throughout the week. It's like, okay, how can I better support myself? How can I see this from a different lens so I don't have to keep going through the same thing over and over and over again? Okay. I would give you some time to integrate. We also have the moon making a trine to Mars. So you might just be very excited or eager to get with the program or for things to progress. And that is also just as good. So trust in what you need after that new moon. If you need time to rest, rest. If you feel inspired to create, to go, to conquer, to do all the things, then do all the things. I do think that with regards to the Venus-Saturn conjunction with that Aquarius new moon, there's going to be new opportunity for you to receive greater love, greater money, greater opportunity, or just a greater sense of self and self-worth. Okay. I know that was a lot, but you know, if you are a regular watcher, I love the astrology, get really, really excited. And I just want everyone to be able to reap the rewards while also knowing how to manage the energies of the week to their advantage. All right. Now, for the astrology question of the week, I've gotten this question a couple different ways. Y'all love when I talk about the nodes in terms of like soulmates, twin flames, what that means. And it's interesting too, because depending on how woo-woo you are, some people don't believe in reincarnation. Some people don't believe in that form of evolutionary astrology, which has a strong connection to the North Node and the South Node. But this question comes from by_Divinaski or Divinasky. Their question is, I started dating someone who has inverse North Node and South Node as me. So my North Node is Sag and South Node in Gemini, and theirs is North Node in Gemini and South Node in Sagittarius. How would that connection transpire? I'm also a Capricorn, they're a Cancer, which are opposing signs. So I'm curious. So this can manifest in a couple of different ways. With regards to synastry, synastry is when we look at two charts and see how the aspects match up to see what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses or challenges that those two individuals may face. Not always in love. This can be siblings, family members, colleagues. Of course, romantic as well falls into this. If your North Node is conjunct their South Node and vice versa, that usually denotes that you are connected in a past life, or the energy that you're trying to cultivate or what feels familiar is strongly linked with other person, kind of like a lock and key symbol where they're going to highly activate you and vice versa. So for example, let's say your North Node is in their third house. and let's say their South Node is in the third house. So there could be a really great aspect of communication, or the other person teaching you how to communicate better, how to use your words properly, or how to help you use your voice. And then if the other nodes were connecting in the ninth house, there could be this belief or way of thinking or ways of learning complex topics in one's life. So for me, when we're looking at the nodes, yes, any kind of South Node synastry, and this doesn't even have to link to just North Node and South Node. Like if your sun is connected to the other person's South Node, that's still a really strong connection. So is the moon, so is the ascendant. So the nodes are just very activating in the sense that it is very, 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 very likely that you've had a past life together. Whether that was good or bad is going to depend on many different things. If you feel like this person you've known for multiple timelines and that you get along so well, and it doesn't even feel like you've known each other for that long and you feel so safe in their presence, you don't need to look at the astrology. That's obviously a good connection. And if you look at the astrology, you could see strong synastry with the nodes. That just affirms it. If we're looking at other aspects to the South Node is conditioning or coding or patterning that you feel familiar with. And the North Node is where you're being called to grow and expand. So if you have good South Node synastry, that could also just show you that what you have cultivated or what you want in that part of your life is still very strong, or that that person is helping you to release current fears in that part of your life. So as a personal example, I have my South Node in Cancer. I love Cancers. I have made that very clear if you have watched my content for a while. But my South Node is also in my 7th house. So in terms of a past life, one may say that I put a lot of priority into my marriage or into my interpersonal relationships. So when I have people with Cancerian energy, I feel safe with them, or they understand what I need in relationships. It also helps me move through certain maybe blocks or fears that I might have in relationships. So I want you to look even in your chart where your South Node is as a strength or energy that you've mastered in a past life. The North Node is what you're looking towards and looking of what you're wanting to accomplish and what your soul wants to experience. So going back to the initial question for the nodes reversing on each other's chart, that person is going to challenge you. They're going to activate you. They're going to help hold space for you. But you're going to also want to be able to do the same for them and also help them release and let go of certain things. So if we're going to give another example, let's look at the nodes reversed in the 4th and the 10th house. So your partner may be able to help you at home. They're going to build a beautiful home, help you understand certain traumas or links you went through with family, and maybe help you so that you might achieve greater fame or honor or a greater career by helping you feel safe in the home. And then what you may do for the other person is help them to be seen, or help them have a good reputation, or help them feel comfortable in the spotlight, while also being able to integrate those home matters so that they know that if they go out there and it doesn't go the way that they want, that they can come back to a stable home and feel safe in your presence. So there's a lot I can say. It's hard without looking at the chart to give a full breakdown for this specific question, but to summarize, 1, nodal reversals with synastry denote past life or a past connection, or that there's going to be some type of activation between the two people. Secondly, I would look at the houses in which that nodal reversal is happening, because sometimes when nodal reversals happen, people automatically link it to love and twin flames, and it can be that, but it can also be like student teacher or mentor mentee or boss subordinate. It doesn't always link to love, and nor should it. Like, I think sometimes we limit ourselves to, we want to experience this grand love, but we can experience grand love with our clients, with loved ones, like our siblings, with your neighborhood barista that you have great conversation with every morning. It doesn't always have to be romantic love. So knowing which houses that nodal reversal is happening in can help inform the type of relationship or type of activation that's going to be happening. And if it is linked to love, it can still be great. If it's in the 3rd and the 9th house and it's a loving connection, then there's going to be a lot of learning and communicating that gets to take place. or if it's in the 2nd and the 8th house, a lot in terms of money and power and resources going to be coming into play. So it's multi-tiered in this regard. And then, of course, you've got to look at the signs. So in this one, it's Gemini and Sagittarius. So there could be aspects of adventure. Of course, communication, higher knowledge also comes into play here as well. So lots to go through. So let me know how that resonates. If you want me to have to do like any kind of follow-up on this, like if there's follow-up questions on this nodal reversal, please let me know and I can answer that in the next week ahead breakdown. And I think that's all. Feel free to share any of your stories that happened during that Moon-Neptune opposition last Thursday. What came through with Mars stationing direct, if anything really shifted really quickly, especially in your Aries or Scorpio ruled houses. And remember, this week is very activating. It's going to be very strong. Of course, I'm going to have the Aquarius New Moon workshop up by midweek. So if you want to invest into that, that'll be available for you. Otherwise, have a phenomenal week ahead. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye.